2021-2022 academic session, both teachers and students of Unity High School, Abeokuta, are not oblivious of the task ahead of them as they prepare to give all that is needed to realize the objectives of the promotional term and ensure a greater future. Our new school was received by principals of both junior and senior schools who turned up very early for the conduct of welcome tests that will set the tone for full academic work despite low turnout of students on the first day.
We've never had it this low, maybe because of the proposed holiday, and I've instructed the teachers that they should go ahead and teach the few students that are around. We should start with our welcome test and normal classes resume.
We are all here ready, we have come as early as possible, but the students are not forthcoming. We don't have up to 30% attendance. Like I told my teachers, every child that is here is going to participate in the welcome tests. And the welcome test, the marks will be recorded.
Having prepared their school and put all the necessary things in place, the students, teachers and management of African Church Grammar School Mission were ready for the third term of the session and waste no time in settling down for work.
The school is ready for the session and the teachers are equally on ground.
Even though attendance was also low at NUD Primary School, academic activities commenced in earnest just as Abeokuta Girls Grammar School, private African Church Grammar School have also commenced full academic work.
So they are all in school, all the teachers too are in school. Right now the welcome test is going on.
Comrade Akim Lasisi is the chairman of Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools in Ogun State and speaks on the expectations for the term.
I want them to concentrate on their studies because you can only make it when you study hard. You don't read to pass, you read to learn. Then on the part of parents, I want to appeal to them to please take proper care of these children. These children are at the adolescent stage where they believe too much in their peers better than their parents and the teachers.
Comrade Lasisi commended Ogun State government for what it has achieved in curbing vices in schools across the states. Matthew Showme, OGTV News.
Ogun State government has revealed that there will be sanctions for learners that were absent during school's resumption without genuine reasons for such. This was disclosed by the State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, during the monitoring exercise to schools within the Abeokuta axis for resumption of third-term academic activities, where he emphasized that the new term will be the determinant for the learners' promotion to another class, urging them not to be complacent with their studies. The Commissioner revealed that learners that were absent from the first day will be required to write formally to give reasons for their absence, positing that tenable reasons will be considered and pardoned, while those that were absent intentionally will be sanctioned accordingly. Arigbabu explained that the welcome test would form the continuous assessment results at the end of the term and encourage learners to shun absenteeism and remain focused in their academics. He also called on parents to continue to support government efforts to ensure discipline are enforced and maintained through learners' attendance, academic and moral standards. In their remarks, the principals, Baptist Schools High School Senior, Shaje, Mr. Olusheyi Kushimo and Mrs. Okpeoluwa Odunaya of Ilugun High School Senior disclosed that learners that were present in these schools have written the welcome test and the teachers were ready to perform their duties optimally. Members of the Ogun State House of Assembly Committee on Information, Culture and Tourism have commended the State Ministry of Information and Strategy, as well as the management teams of the State Television, OGTV, and the State Broadcasting Corporation, OGBC, for deploying strategies for effective propagation of government's policies and programs in the state through different media platforms. The committee, led by Honorable Yusuf Adejuju, gave the commendation while considering the 2022 quarterly budget assessment of the ministry and its allied agencies at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the exercise, and his report is presented in this package.
Presenting the budget performance for the first quarter of year 2022 before the House Committee on Information, Culture and Tourism, led by its chairman, Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Alhaji Waheed Odushile, reeled out the various publications, radio and television programs being aired by the ministry and the broadcast stations to inform and enlighten the members of the public on government's programs and activities. He added that ministry, in collaboration with the state-owned media outfits, had been creating mutual understanding between the government and the governed through a two-way communication which had availed the people adequate information about government and subsequently harnessed their feelings, ideas and agitations to the appropriate channels. Odushile sought the need to assist the two media stations improve on their operations by bringing them into the state-independent power plants to address the frequent power outage, which made the stations continue to spend a fortune on the purchase of diesel to run their operations.
And first, apart from funds and equipment, we, especially for the radio and television, power supply is a major problem. Power supply is a major problem because the bulk of the revenue that they make has been going to procurement of diesel. And if something can be done, especially if it can be considered to be part of the IPP power program of the government, it will go a long way to cut down on the expenditure of these two organizations.
Honorable Yusuf Adejojo assured that the committee would continue to support the various government's media organizations towards achieving the set objectives in the sector, while acknowledging their efforts at improving on their respective revenue drives, especially in the face of daunting economic challenges. The lawmakers also appraised the budget performance of the State Ministry of Special Duties and that of Environment, as well as the State Printing Corporation, the State Independence Electoral Commission, and Bureau of Information Communication Technology, among others.
Ogun State Civil Service Commission has advised the general public to disregard the recruitment advertisement of officer and personnel into the state civil service as being advertised on the website recruit.org.ng and currently being circulated on various social media platforms. A statement by the Permanent Secretary in the Commission, Mr. Adedayo Shomoye, said the state government is not currently recruiting officers, adding that when the opportunity arises, such advertisement will be made through the regular civil service channels as well as the state job portal, which was put in place for such process. The statement urged the public to beware of false advertisement and take appropriate caution, as the state civil service will not be responsible for any loss or losses incurred on the basis of the false advertisement. Scores of Nigerian youths may need to wait a little longer before tapping into the waste to wealth policy of government of Ogun State. A survey across Ogun State capital, Abeokuta, has indicated low response of people towards the policy. Fowora Adesonwo in this report also calls for political will towards relocation of people in floodplains area in the event of devastating flood anticipated during the rainy seasons for this year. His report.
For now, the coast is cleared, but for the debris in the middle of the river, there is a lot of taxing to avert chaos.
There is always flood, but the water don't really flow beyond its bank, sort of. But since people have been dragging the river, sort of, the water has been changing the course, sort of. Instead of taking the normal course, it's now moving towards the bank.
The river banks have been busy to and fro the nearest destination with a token, but huge deposit of refuse might cause a lot of havoc in the future.
We have a deep pit created right behind the building
where all the waste have been disposed and burnt.
I think the government needs to intervene. One, cut these trees and bushes at the middle of the river. So there are some, what can I call it, rocks there that they can blast. Okay, they can blast the rock, then drag the middle of that river so that the water can take its normal course.
What we do is this. There is a private company that comes to pick our refuse. So when we dump, they come and pick. We wouldn't know what they do with this. But you are just giving us another insight. Maybe we'll think about this and we want to queue into it.
Some schools along the banks of the river and personal effects may give way if the velocity of the storm is insurmountable.
Whenever the flood disturbs them, the children will not be allowed, they will ask them to stay at home because the flood will normally come down into the classroom, that they will not be able to stay at all.
But residents of the river banks are saying flood comes and goes, and the people as well as their property have always remained.
There were so many challenges we are facing here because of open dam, flowing water. When it comes to around June to July, the water will be flow, and it's going to reach that place, that up. But only what we need so many assistance with government, because if economic viability of this place is so enormous.
There is a huge alert from the government that the rains for this year will be too much to bear on the riverbanks. Waste disposal and environmental sanitation are now on their priority list for a secured environment. Adefowura Adesanwo, OGTV News.
You are still watching OGTV News. Coming up next, Nigeria gets 9 million doses of cholera vaccine to curb spread. We will bring you the details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. About 80 primary and secondary schools in Ogun State are to undergo sensitization against the burden of malaria and its prevention. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Kayode Oladende, who revealed this, however, noted that the sensitization is part of activities lined up by the state government to commemorate this year's Malaria Day. Elizabeth Esson reports.
Today is an historic day. Today, WHO is recommending the broad use of the world's first malaria vaccine. This is a breakthrough for science, child health, and malaria control.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, World Malaria Day celebrated every 25th day of April to focus global attention on malaria and its devastating impact on families, communities, and societal development, especially in sub-Saharan Africa.
We have right now is a vaccine that can be deployed, that it's accepted, that it's safe, and that can have a massive impact.
For centuries, malaria has stalked sub-Saharan Africa, causing immense personal suffering. The RTSS vaccine is a game changer, and it's arriving at the right time.
Commemorating this year's celebration with a theme, Advance Equity, Build Resilience, End Malaria, the Permanent Secretary, Ogun State Ministry of Health, Dr. Kayode Oladende, confirmed that the state will harness all resources in ensuring its citizens are enlightened and sensitized against malaria scourge and prevention.
The rains are coming. We should clear, the drainages around us, clear the bushes around us. And of course, even if you have malaria, if you have symptoms, you should appropriately go to the right place so that you'll be diagnosed and you'll be treated.
Olamide Adeyinka is the State Malaria Program Manager. She speaks on the state's intervention at preventing malaria among its populace.
Malaria does not hang, in the health system. It's still part of the health system. So we are saying that building a health system that is resilient, a health system that can withstand any shock or disruption, just like we had during COVID-19, we also help in the way to pre-elimination and elimination of malaria. So building the health system in terms of capacity of health worker, in terms of provision of commodities for treatment, in terms of infrastructure, these are things that will build the resilient health system.
This year's theme from WHO and the federal government, harness innovation to reduce malaria disease burden and save lives, and advance equity, build resilience, and malaria, are geared towards reinforcing investment in ending malaria to save lives. It is on record that malaria, mostly prevalent in Africa, kills nearly 1 million people. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, as the world marks this year's World Malaria Day, the World Health Organization, WHO, has urged Nigeria and other malaria endemic countries to work on drug and insecticide resistance, as well as focus on new strains of malaria parasites arising from the region, which are more difficult to detect and treat. Making the call in her message to mark the day, the WHO Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, said malaria remains a significant public health and development challenge. According to her, last year, about 95% of the estimated 228 million cases occurred in the WHO Afro region, along with 602,020 reported deaths. She said 6 of the countries the worst impacted by malaria in the region were reported to have accounted for up to 55% of cases globally and for 50% of these deaths. Noting that World Malaria Day is an occasion to renew political commitment and encourage continued investment in malaria prevention and control, she called on countries and communities affected by malaria to work closely with development partners to advance the countries along the road to elimination while contributing to the achievement of other Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The Global Task Force on Cholera Control, GTFCC, has approved about 9 million doses of oral cholera vaccine, OCV, for Nigeria to implement 2 campaigns in 14 local governments in 9 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, to mitigate the risk of an upsurge of cholera cases during rainy season. The World Health Organization WHO country representative in Nigeria, Dr. Walter Mulumbo, disclosed this at the WHO training on the integration of the OCV in emergency and preventative context. Observed that Nigeria degraded its biggest cholera outbreak, which commenced in 2021 with over 100,000 suspected cases reported. He stressed the need for the early allocation and shipment of the vaccines to ensure vaccinations are done sooner than later to stop the outbreak from becoming the epidemic. Mulumbo stated that the challenges identified during 2021 annual GTFCC stakeholder meeting, including poor quality, reactive, and preventative OCV campaign requests, lack of OCV use as an outbreak response in some settings, inadequate monitoring and evaluation of OCV campaigns need to be urgently addressed. According to Mulumbo, cholera control efforts is a holistic one, including more than just vaccination, and the need to address issues remains critical in the long term. Also speaking, Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanure, recalled that the first recorded appearance of cholera at epidemic level in Nigeria was in 1972, with gradually increasing numbers of outbreaks over the years, along with marked mortality and morbidity and expenses associated with treatment and management. A group with the name Dapo Abiodun Mandate Group has endorsed him for the second term of office as the state governor ahead of the 2023 governorship election. The group has also raised a sum of 50 million naira for the planned purchase of the All Progressives Congress APC governorship nomination and intention form for him. The Dapo Abiodun Mandate Group said he took the decision to endorse the governor due to its conviction that he has the total support of people of the state. Addressing newsmen at the Peru country home of the governor, the convener of the group, Honorable B. Adeleye, said Governor Abiodun had corrected the wrongs of the past administration. Adeleye, who is also special advisor to Governor Abiodun on political matters, said the present administration is running a practical policy of even development in the state.
Over the last few years, we have realized that his government enjoys total approval from God and the good people of Ogun State, having demonstrated that his administration is a divine and deliberate government to right the wrongs of the past administration by not only concentrating on projects and efforts in one region or senatorial district while leaving the rest untouched. It gladdens our heart that Governor Dapo Abiodun has touched not only all the senatorial districts but every local government in Ogun State. He also took it upon himself to complete all the abandoned projects of the past administration because he believes it is ungodly to punish the good people of the state for bad political chicanery and decision of the previous administration. Hence, the Dapo Abiodun Mandate as a group is compelled to purchase the nomination and intention form for our principal in endorsement of his second term in office, having ticked all the boxes and made us proud as silent achiever who works his thoughts by not promising to do everything, but doing everything he has promised.
Added that with the completion of abandoned projects in the state, Governor Abiodun deserves another term of office to deliver on his other promises. The role of parents in a child's life cannot be overemphasized. Parents are their children's first mentors, and it is their responsibility to instill the proper discipline that would steer their life journey. On this premise, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ministry of Information Chapel, Ogun State Council had its 7th Ramadan lecture with the theme, Islam in Youths Today, Guiding Our Future, the Roles of Parents. The lecture was organized to address the shortfall in moral conduct exhibited by the youths of today. Odunayo Uriyeni was there and she reports.
Lack of values and parental care has caused moral decadence among the youths of today. Most parents have failed to inculcate the moral values expected of them in their children. The level of decadence in the society is becoming alarming, and this has caused a systematic failure. This was stressed at the Ramadan lecture organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ministry of Information Chapel, Ogun State Council. The program, which took place at the State Secretariat, Okemoson, Abeokuta, was graced by several dignitaries, which included Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Alhaji Shuaib Salisu, the Chief of Staff, Ogun State, Head of Service, Dr. Nofiu Aigoro, Alhaji Jagmolu Omoniyi, Commissioner for Housing, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, Commissioner for Education, and host of others like permanent secretaries of various ministries and directors from the Ministry of Information and Strategy. In his opening address, Comrade Wale Olarewaju, Chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ministry of Information Chapel, justifies reason for the choice of the lecture.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have deliberately and carefully chosen here to address the obvious breakdown of orderliness and shortfall in moral conduct as being arrogantly exhibited by the youths of today, orchestrating the present-day societal challenges.
Thereafter, goodwill messages were expressed by a few personalities present at the lecture.
How we can best address these challenges so that we can reduce the moral decadence in our society and also increase the security that each and every one of us enjoys and wants to enjoy right across our land.
I believe that parents alone should not be held responsible for these problems because we are all involved.
Highlight of the event was the lecture given by the guest lecturer, Sheikh Muhyiddin Ajani Bello, the Oniwasu Agbaye, who stressed that youth should flee from all forms of vices and abide by the laws of the land. Parental flaws and the exhibition of immorality and social vices in the society are getting to the extreme. Therefore, parents were urged to bring up their children in an Islamic way by leaving a legacy that would help them to live a fulfilled life. Odunayo Oriyeni, OGTV News.
The federal government has said it is determined to tackle the escalating cost of animal feed. This, it said, will be encouraged with the utilization of low-grade grains and climate-smart animal feed production. Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Enes Umakihe, said this at the Capacity Building and Animal Feed Distribution Program organized by the Ministry's Department of Animal Husbandry Services in Abuja. Umakihe, who was represented at the event by the Director of Special Duties in the Ministry, Mrs. Fawcett Lawal, said the high cost of animal feeds had forced many feed millers and livestock farmers out of business. The Permanent Secretary, who noted that the livestock contribution goes beyond meat, milk and eggs, said the subsector supports over 1 billion persons globally, accounting for over 40% of global agricultural gross domestic product and provides over 35% of the world's protein intake. Director of Animal Husbandry Services, Mrs. Winnie Lai Shulari, said the program is nationwide, meant to assist livestock farmers to improve their livelihood and achieve feed and food security. Mrs. Lai Shulari noted that there is low production capacity of most feed mills due to scarcity and high cost of feed ingredients. She explained that many farmers have been thrown out of business and some involved in sharp practices that undermine the effectiveness of their activities on the environment. Important dignitaries continue to visit Oyo town in Oyo State on the demise of the Alaafin Oba Lamidi Adeyemi to pay their last respect and commiserate with the Oyomesi and the immediate family of the king. Bumi Adigun was in Oyo town to capture the moment, and he completes the story.
Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi, is still a maker of sorts, as the second day of the announcement of his death sees people coming from far and near to come and pay their last respect and commiserate with his immediate family. Residents of Oyo town are yet to come out of the sad news of the death of Oba Lamidi Adeyemi. They are laughing of Oyo as the people are still converging in groups, discussing maybe the hand of time could be reversed, but it is a dream which cannot come to pass. Moving from the town into the ancient palace, where the people, in large number, many refused to leave the palace, while others joined them in the morning to catch the glimpse of what will happen after the passage of the king. As expected, the palace will serve as a melting point for who is who in the country till the 8th day of the death. So many who have come to return the gesture known for the royal father while alive, as it was confirmed that Oba Laiwola Atonda Adeyemi was a rallying point for everyone. Minister of Youth and Sports Sunday Dari, Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba Land, Iba Gani Adams, Senator Olusoji Akanbi, and other eminent personalities were part of the early callers.
I will call him a father. I will call him a teacher. I will call him a comforter. from people when you need his intellectual input in your life. And he's an historian that whenever you meet him, he will load you with a lot of information that you are not used to.
Extremely highly intelligent, blessed, and very accommodating. Extremely courageous. A lion had just left the jungle.
He was a lover of sports, a boxer, but also was a true Nigerian. His death is a great loss for your state, especially the people of his kingdom, but also for Nigeria, because amongst the top emirs and rulers and obas that we have, is one that has lent his voice to national issues and developments.
Archbishop Ayo Oladigbolu, on behalf of the family and chiefs, relive the memories of the man popularly called Iku Baba Yeye.
Adeyemi is a true reincarnation of Atiba. And Your Excellency, if you notice, he will always walk like Atiba, talk like Atiba, dance like Atiba. And he chose the month of April, which was the month that Atiba departed to Lagos.
Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, also came in to pay his condolence to the people of Oyo State.
Our money, we're sad because Kabezi left us. Because no matter how old they are, you still don't want them to go. But we're happy also because he lived a fulfilled and impactful life.
The most bereaved is this man, with an average height popularly called Baba Keji. He is 100 years and has seen the life and times of 3 Alaafin of Oyo, including Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III. The atmosphere seems will remain so for a long time, as the crowd that converge in Oyo town daily speaks volume of who the Alaafin was before his death. The dice here is who will assume the mantle of leadership next, and how soon will it be? From Oyo town, it's been Bumi Adigun reporting for OGTV News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a billionaire drug baron allegedly behind the 3 billion naira tramadol deal involving the embattled suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba-Kyari-led Intelligence Response Team, IRT. The alleged drug baron, his chief, Afam Malisin Emmanuel Okatu, who is the chairman of Malisin Group of Companies. This is contained in a statement by the Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Mr. Femi Babafemi, in Abuja. Babafemi said that Okatu, who was arrested on April 13 after months of surveillance and evading arrest, was eventually nabbed aboard a flight to Abuja at the MM2 terminal of the Lagos airport. He said that investigations revealed that he had been a major importer of large consignments of different brands and high dosages of tramadol, hydrochloride, ranging from 120 milligram, 200 milligram, 225 milligram and 250 milligram, all of which are illicit. According to him, Okatu owns pharmaceutical and plastic manufacturing companies, which he used as a cover to import illicit drugs into Nigeria. Okatu came under watch last year after 5 cartons of tramadol 225 milligram were seized from his staff on May 4, 2021, when he sent them to sell to undercover police officers from the then Kyari-led IRT of the Nigerian Police, Ikeja, Lagos. Adebola Oshomeji is standing by for business news.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. According to a recently released report from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the cost of liquefied petroleum gas, cooking gas, saw an 83.62% increase from what it used to be last year. As documented in the NBS report, the average price for refilling a 5 kg cylinder of cooking gas was 3,778.30 in March 2022 from 3,000